Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. A lot of you guys know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, what me wearing no skin means. And it means a brand new update for Tricky Trials Plus. Now this update has took a lot of work and it's been very stressful to get this one right. But before we jump to what is new in this version, I do quickly just want to say a huge thanks to the people who helped with this update. We do have two new people alongside Centauri and TheBlockyGoat. Now I will have the two new people linked in the description if they want to have links. And that is Serp and Werden. Now I just want to say a huge thanks to all four of them as they have helped out with this update so much. So we're jumping to the Moonling camp. And this was a structure added, I think, last update. Moonlings do have a chance to spawn here, but they are not 100%. And Moonlings can now spawn within jungle biomes. This is bamboo jungles, sparse jungles, and normal jungles. When they spawn, we can see one right here. They will spawn with a new weapon, and this is the titanium bat. Now, titanium bats we'll cover a little bit later on, but that is the Moonling's weapon. Now, they do have the rare occasion where they might be riding a panda. So the first thing, we have removed ancient roots. Ancient roots was kind of a pointless item. They only had one use, and that use was taming the Moonling. And instead, we have added bamboo stew. This can be crafted with 6 bamboo and a bowl. And this is now what is used to breed or tame the Moonlings. Now, once you have tamed one, it will then follow you. A few changes we have made. It no longer grants the best friends achievement. So when you tame these guys, you won't get best friends. And also, Moonlings will follow the player, but they'll no longer be able to teleport to the player. Now, alongside the Moonling holding the titanium bat, there's no way to change its weapon anymore. You can now craft yourself Moonling armor. The recipe for this is like so: 1 titanium block and then 4 titanium ingots. And equipping this onto the Moonling basically acts like wolf armor, where the Moonling won't take damage until the armor is broken. Now you can repair it with titanium ingots, and as the armor takes damage, it will slowly crack. So you can see it's lost its helmet. Next time I think it will lose the boots, which it has. And then finally it will lose the leggings before it finally fully cracks. And if we quickly just try to repair it, you can see clicking them on is repairing the armor. You can also craft yourself a titanium bat, which is crafted like so. And now let's cover a bit about the PvP of the Moonling. So if you have a tamed Moonling, they will protect the player. And you can see when they hit a mob with that titanium bat, the mob has insane knockback. When a Moonling kills a mob, there is a chance it can give you some potion effects. The potion effects are random. It can be strength, it can be haste, it can be regen, it can be speed. There is also a very rare chance that you can get all 4 or 5 of them at once. And these are just granted randomly when the Moonling kills a mob. So that's the changes to the Moonling. Let's now quickly talk about the titanium bat. Because the titanium bat is a normal weapon like an iron sword, but it has insane knockback. As you can see, every time I punch this husk or the Moonling punched the husk, it goes flying. It goes about 6 blocks forward or in the direction you hit. And you can adjust this with the item component. So by default, the range is set. But if you do want to mess with it in creative mode and adjust the bat knockback, that is something you can do. Now, there's one other change to Moonlings, and that is the maps that you find within their camps. We have updated these maps quite a bit. So when you roll a map now, the map will now have a name for the structure it locates. Before, it would always have the same name, so I think it would always be called Mystery Moonling Map or Moonling Explorer. So now you can see this one leads us to a Blitz dungeon. And you can also see there is now a custom icon on the map showing where the Blitz dungeon is. Now, if I quickly just try to get them all, you have the redstone mine, which is right there. We then also have the labyrinth, which is the eye just below us. And there we go, a tricky chamber, which you can see the icon right there. So the new feature we're going to showcase next is treasure rooms. These are new structures that are found underground. Now, there are 9 different versions of these treasure rooms. The doors follow the key items, so there is one door for every single key. So now let's quickly cover a little bit how these work before we jump to the blocks and everything they are made from. So when you enter one of these structures, the blocks cannot be broken. You are given an effect called Mysterious Curse, and I cannot break any of the blocks within this structure. Now, upon defeating the spawner's mobs do also depend on the variant of the treasure room. So, for example, this one is the trial chamber. So the mobs we are getting are from the trial chamber. And then when you defeat it, you'll get a key, which this key can be used to open the door. Once again, the key depends on the type of door. This one's just normal trial, so this is the key that it requires. This door cannot be broken when it's locked, but now that I've opened it, you can see the mysterious curse is removed, meaning that I can now break all the blocks and collect them for myself. I can also take the door, and I can use this door within my own builds without granting the effect. So now when I place this down, you can see it doesn't grant the mysterious curse effect, meaning that I can use this door within my own builds, and it can only be opened with the key of its type. Now inside of the treasure room, you can find 2 valuable blocks. These just vary between emeralds, gold, diamond, iron, lapis, redstone. There is also an extremely rare chance that you can get ancient debris. But apart from the building blocks and the doors, now these building blocks can be crafted from other structures, but the doors are exclusive to this structure. There is one other new thing inside of here, and these are once again exclusive. These cannot be found anywhere else. So upon clicking on these, you'll see it will reveal a random item. Now we'll cover what that item is in a second. And from these treasure rooms, you always get 1 scroll, which once again we'll cover that in a second. You also get 1 random enchanted armor, and this is max enchanted, so it has 1 level above the max. And then if we click this final one, you also get 1 random soul essence, which can be used on the ominous cage. Now once you revealed them, you can click on them again to take the item, and you can pick these up and take these to your base. You'd also get an advancement for making your first one, and this basically works like an item stand or a podium. I can click an item on it and it'll basically render the item above, spinning the item. But once again, these cannot be crafted, they can only be found from the treasure rooms. So the blocks of the structure are the trial shard block. I'll show all the recipes for them after. We then also have a plated trial shard, and then we have a trial mosaic, which you can see all 3 blocks right there. There then also is a trial trapdoor, but this cannot be found within the room. This can only be crafted. And quickly just showing the recipes for them, you have the trial shard, which is 4 trial shards for 3 blocks. The plated trial shard is just 4 trial shard blocks. And the trial mosaic is 2 shard blocks with 2 copper. And the trapdoor is just 2 of the shard blocks like so, which gets you 2 trapdoors. Now let's cover the doors. So once again, them blocks that I just showcased will spawn in every single of the treasure rooms. The only thing that's different is the mob inside of the spawner and also the treasure door. So here are all the variants. We have the ominous treasure door, we have the trial treasure door, we have the tricky treasure door, we have the ominous tricky treasure door, we have the elder, then we also have the woodland, we have the city, we have the echo, and we have the bastion. Now, also one other thing to note, these can only be opened with their respective key. So for example, I cannot open the prismarine one with a woodland key. And if I quickly just show you how they work once you've broken them from natural generation, I can click on this door to open it, and I can click on it again to close it. But I cannot open or close it with my hand. It has to be with the key item. But once you break the door from the treasure rooms, it will not consume a key when you open it. As you can see, I can open it as many times as I would like, and it's not consuming the key. Now, another thing that I want to mention about these treasure rooms is where they are located. So the ominous and the trial are found inside of any biome the trial chamber can spawn in. The tricky and the ominous tricky can be found any biome the tricky chamber can spawn in. Prismarine is found in any biome the Prismarine fortress can spawn in. The woodland one is found in dark oak forests. The city one is found within the end dimension. The echo one is found within deep dark. And the bastion is found within the nether. Now let's cover the treasure scrolls, because the treasure scrolls come in 7 different versions. Now how these work is you throw them in an anvil with an item, and each scroll does something different. So this one turns the item into common rarity. So if you don't know what rarity does, it just changes the color of the name. So this one does the uncommon rarity, which if I throw it in here with a diamond sword, you can see the color of the diamond sword has changed. We then also have rare rarity, which changes it to blue, and we have epic rarity, which changes it to purple. We then also have the treasure scroll of gives the item enchantment glow, which this will give the item the enchantment glint even with no enchantments. We then also have the treasure scroll of makes the item unbreakable. This one is the only exclusive one, and this one only works with items that have durability. Now, this one does also have a negative to it. It curses the item it's applied to. So for example, if I was to throw this on this diamond sword, it gives it so it's unbreakable, so this diamond sword will never be broken, it will never lose durability. It does also cost 30 levels, that is a set 30, it will never be under that or more than that, but it does have Curse of Vanishing. So although it's unbreakable, if you die with this item, you lose it forever. And then we also have the one of turns the item in the first slot fire resistant. This was an item which was found inside of the Tricky Chamber. We have basically revamped it to be a scroll to match the other ones. It can still be found in the Tricky Chamber, but this is the only one that can be found outside of the treasure rooms. All the others are exclusive to the treasure rooms. Now a quick little change, the titanium ore and the deep slate titanium ore will now drop raw titanium on breaking it. An update to another old structure, the labyrinth. We have updated an item within here, so if you find your way to the end of the labyrinth, which I've now done, I cut that just so you guys can't see the exit, but if you break this block once you complete the structure, you would get yourself a redstone core. And this was completely pointless apart from decoration. So if we also grab ourselves some copper from this safe, we can craft ourselves a powered hammer, which is 2 copper ingots with a redstone core. It's more of a tool than a weapon. You can see it does 6 attack damage, but it's also 0.5 attack speed. And that's because when you use this weapon, it mines a 3x3 area. Now a few things to note about the powered hammer. It cannot be enchanted with any enchantments, and it also cannot be repaired. Now there is a way to buff this, and that is with a new enchantment. Now this is a treasure enchantment, so you can just find it from villager trades, fishing, and inside a loot chest. And it comes in 2 levels, bouldering 1 and bouldering 2. So let me quickly just show you what happens when you put this on to a hammer. So the one with no bouldering will mine a 3x3. It will also only take 1 durability damage, so you can see it's on 293. It will go down to 292. It will not consume 9 durability for mining 9 blocks. Now the bouldering 1 will mine a 5x5 area rather than a 3x3. And then the bouldering 2 will mine a 7x7 area. So it basically just increases the amount of blocks it can break from a 3x3 to a 5x5 to a 7x7. And that is once again because you can give yourself a power hammer with a custom item component of hammer range. Now, by default, the hammer range is 1, which is a 3x3, but you can once again make this anything you want. So we can make this go all the way up to 10, which you can see mines out quite a big area. Now, one other quick little change, 2 updates ago, we added shafts for all of the elements apart from the blitz. So there was the breeze, there was the blaze, there was the bubbles. And now in this update, we added a blitz one, just because a lot of people wanted it. And because the blitz doesn't have rods, we made it craftable just using 2 earth charges like so. Now another quick little update, heavy ingots have had a updated texture just to look more like the heavy color. And then also heavy armor has had a updated texture as well, to now make it look more like heavy cores. It still functions the same, this is only a texture update. The next location we have to head to is a trial chamber, and that is because inside of the trial chamber you can now find yourselves something new, which you can see right here. You can now find yourself copper golems if you are exploring the hallways of this structure. Now by default, the copper golems will be fully oxidized and stuck in a statue state. You can de-wax these by clicking them with an axe, and that will grant you an achievement for doing it for the first ever time. And you can also make these go down to the first ever stage. Now, these do not work like Minecraft intended them, and just because we thought them pressing buttons is kind of pointless. So how these work is if you have yourself a copper golem, copper in the radius, now this has to be normal copper, it cannot be waxed, but the copper golem is speeding up the oxidization of copper around it. And it does this for any copper within a 8-block radius. And this works for doors, bulbs, grates, any copper variant. So we did also give it another use. Another thing I do quickly just want to note, if you do kill these guys, so let's quickly just take this one out. So you can see this one was weathered, so it drops some weathered copper blocks. If I was to kill this one will drop normal copper blocks because it has no oxidization. You can craft yourself up some copper wires, which is just 3 copper ingots. And basically what you can do with these copper wires is you can click them onto the copper golem. It will summon lightning, and then it will set the weather to lightning. And you can see when it is thundering, the copper golem will glow. Now the next function. So not only can you make these wax copper a lot quicker, you can also use them to summon a thunderstorm. And then the final thing they will do is if a mob gets within about 8 blocks of them, they will smite that mob. There we go. You can see that randomly it will smite the mobs with a lightning strike. And smiting a cow will turn it into a moonling. Now, one other thing to note, the copper golems will oxidize. It takes about 1 hour, real life hour, for them to oxidize one state. Now we quickly jump into the tricky chamber, because there is also a new addition within this chamber. And if we quickly just find one of these guys, the Illusioner, these guys now have a drop. So let's quickly just summon some of these, and then we are going to kill them. Now this drop is not 100% spawn chance. I think it's about a 25% spawn chance from killing one of these. And there we go, we just got one. This is the Totem of Illusion. Now, this doesn't work like a normal totem. Now what this does is it highlights mobs within a radius. So let's quickly just, for example, let's spawn some spiders from this spawner. And let's go back to the trial chamber. Let's say we was maybe lighting up some areas, or we wanted to see where mobs were. We can use this, and you can see any mob within a radius of me will be made glowing. Now, I don't think I was quite close enough to that spider to make it glow. And you can see it makes them glow for as long as the cooldown on the Totem of Illusion lasts, which is about 30 seconds. Now, if I was to use it again, you can see it will make that one glow, and it does also make the spider glow behind the wall. Now, before we jump to some of the other minor changes, there are 2 new potion effects that you can get from the tricky chamber. These 2 new potion effects are found when potions are spawned above your head when you have the ominous trials activated. Now, the 2 potions is fire charging and also rotten, which let me quickly just show you what these do. They all come in arrow form, bottle form, splash form, and lingering form. So if I quickly just spawn the husk here, and then I hit this husk with a fire charging, this husk dying will spawn fire around it. Just like the weaving, but instead of cobwebs, it will place fire. And one thing you might have also noticed, we have added custom particles for a lot of effects in this update. Now, before we cover some of the other effects, Rotten. Rotten is a rotten potion, and it does increase the difficulty a lot. Because if you have this effect enabled, let's quickly just grab some food. So if you have the rotten effect, you can see I am not healing. The rotten effect basically turns off your natural healing. As soon as the rotten effect is gone from yourself, then you'll start naturally healing again. So let's quickly just show some of the custom particles for the effects. So we have Dreaming, which will now just let off little Phantomize when you have it. I've already showed the Fire Charged and the Rotten. And Labyrinth. Stunned or Treasure Curse don't have them. And Labyrinth, you can see, just shows us the little labyrinth eyes. Now, one thing that I've wanted to do for quite some time, but we never managed to get someone who could do it. And that is that entities within this update now have custom sounds. The Trial Knight has their own custom sounds. The Bubbles have their own custom sounds. The Blitz, the Bouldering Zombie, the Lobber, the Viola Witch, the Bristle, the Moonling, the Redstone Beast, the Grunter, the Stealth, and also the Copper Golem. Every single entity within Tricky Trials Plus now have custom entity sounds. First of all, the Lobber has been slightly updated to now grant the Rotten effect when it hits you with one of its projectiles. Before this update, it would give you nausea, which was kind of an annoying effect, but now if you are hit by one, you will see that it grants you the Rotten effect, as you can see right there. It only grants it for about 5 seconds. Now, another change to one of the entities, and this is the Stealth. The Stealth is a redstone bug, but if you manage to find one and you break it out of its redstone, it will now carry that redstone block. But there is a thing. If it is carrying a redstone block, and it is within about 8 to 16 blocks of a redstone beast, which is this guy, it will slowly build up the amount of redstone it has. And the amount of redstone it has will depend on how much it drops when you kill it. By default, it starts with 1, so when you break it out of the redstone, it will start with 1, and it will go up to a max of a stack. It will only build up redstone if there is a redstone beast within range. But another thing, you cannot kill these guys if there is a redstone beast within range. So if this guy is annoying you and it is attacking you, then you cannot do anything about it until you have removed the mobs powering them. So as you can see, hitting this guy does make the redstone beast glow, and you'll see that now both of these are dead. I can kill this stealth and get its drops. Now, the final change within this update, which I'm quickly going to mention, we got a lot of suggestions that the bristle mob should drop silverfish when it is eliminated. So now when you kill one of these, it will drop between 1 and 2 silverfish, also making this mob a little bit harder. But anyway, that is it for this update. Once again, this update was very stressful to work on. We added a load of custom sounds, and although it might seem like a small one, it definitely wasn't. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this update in the comments. Also, any suggestions or feedback you have, also do let me know them in the comments. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!